The day started out quite routinely. We jumped into a new system and began surveying for resources and intelligence. Things seemed bleak. The third planet from the star seemed the most promising. On the view screen, it looked like a gem as the star shone on its oceans. We detected life here, but its sentience was debatable. As was routine, we cloaked the ship and began preliminary scans. We discovered the species here was ape-like, but hairless, save a few patches. They called themselves humans. Some of their technology was quite impressive for mammals. For example, their communication system, or as they call it, the internet. They developed a system of computers linking all known information, besides some governmental things, for all to see. It was very useful in our collection of information on the planet. Next on the agenda was the collection of some samples of the flora and fauna. My team and I went down to the planet on one of the several cloaked shuttles launched. We went to a continent unconnected to the main continents, but close to many islands. It was one of the less hospitable places on the planet, but the apes lived here regardless. The shuttle was at optimal efficiency, and with Stacked at the helm, we began our descent. As Jodder and I were preparing the equipment to collect some samples, the shuttle experienced some turbulence, a rare occurrence. I turned my attention to Stacked to see him frantically flipping switches and pushing buttons at the controls. "We're in some kind of ion storm," he shouted over to us. We weren't expecting this. 1,000 thoughts went through my mind. Was it the apes? Could they detect us? My thoughts were stopped by a flash before us and a terrible rumble. The shuttle shook and sirens went off. We lost contact with the main ship and the other shuttles. And as the flash and rumble happened again, Jodder and I strapped ourselves in. This was going to be a bumpy ride. A flash struck our shuttle. As we fell down, our descent sped up. We were going down, and there was nothing we could do about it. Stacked was panicking, trying to slow our fall. And as I looked into his eyes, I could see guilt. I saw he felt this was his fault, but I couldn't find the words to reassure him as I equipped my helmet and breathing gear. The shuttle was shaking violently as the flash and rumble continued, but it seemed further away now and growing less violent. Then it stopped, but I could still hear it. I could see the surface on the view screen, growing ever closer. Parts of the shuttle broke off, bursting into flames as they fell. The only thing between us and the ground was the thick hull we prayed would stay together. It was going too fast for Stacked to land, but it didn't stop him from trying. We hit the ground with a thud and slid across the earth, knocking down every tree in our path with another thud until we slowed to a stop. I looked around with weary eyes to see Jodder unconscious and Stacked under a pile of rubble. Every console was ablaze. I frantically attempted to unstrap myself and scurry to the exit. I hit the emergency open and felt relieved to be in a more breathable atmosphere. The forest was burning all around me, besides the clearing made by the shuttle's crash. I didn't know what to do. We had destroyed this environment and my friends lay in the shuttle, awaiting their deaths. I'm not sure how long I stood there, but all of a sudden, I heard sirens. I could hear them coming closer. Then, I heard a whir coming from the sky. The apes knew we were here, now, if they didn't know it before. The whir came from a machine. It began to drop water over the flames in attempts to extinguish the threat. Soon, I saw where the sirens were coming from. I could see several vehicles not too far away. They drove toward the fire. No, towards me. As they approached, I was frozen. I felt detached from the scene. Some of the apes had weapons pointed at me, but I was more intrigued by the others. They passed me wearily, but ran into the shuttle. I thought they were attempting to salvage whatever they could before it burned into ashes. But when I followed them in, I was confused. The room had grown dark as it filled with smoke, and the fires still burned hot. These apes did not seem to mind. Two of the apes lit Jodder's straps and carried her outside. Two began to dig through the rubble, and the remainder attempted to suppress the flames. I was brought outside by an ape, not equipped with the gear the others in the fire had, to Jodder. I could tell they wanted me to help them help her. Minutes later, Stack's body was brought out of the shuttle. It was too late for him, but the apes attempted to help him too. Then I was shocked still again. An ape carried out another ape, a lifeless ape. It had died attempting to save Jodder and Stack. I couldn't understand it. They had risked their lives for people they had never met, a species they had never seen before this day. Of all the species we have studied, of the countless life among the stars, I had never seen anything like this. I went over to the body of the human who had risked his life for my friends. Another human was shouting and weeping as he sent pulses through the corpse to no effect. Others crowded around the scene. I was speechless and paralyzed as I watched this display of emotion. Most of the humans stared at me, but as I looked at this being who was willing to lose his life for us, I wondered, what were they willing to do for each other? The author's name and the link to original text is in the description. Consider tapping the thumbs up and pressing the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video.